All right, welcome everybody. We appreciate you jumping on here to YouTube Soccer Matters. As I look out the window here from our radio and TV position here, both the Houston Dynamo and Colorado Rapids are warming up. Looks like we're okay right now weather-wise. And we have starting lineup, so we might as well get right into that.
Oh, real quick before we do that, let me go ahead and make sure you guys like, share, subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, follow on Twitter/X and Instagram. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and YouTube now. Wait, I said YouTube. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube now for pre- and post-game shows. And yeah, that's it. Make sure you also like and follow Soccer Matters every Monday and Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, this week the radio show, by the way, is going to be tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Central, and Friday night, 6 o'clock Central. I got a lot of great guests for you for that. All right, so for Colorado coming in here, the Rapids come in at 6-5-4. They're sixth in the West, 22 points. They got a record of 3-3-2 on the road, so they have taken road points. 27 goals for, 26 against. So they got a +1 goal differential. They're 1-1-1 in their last three. But here's the thing to me: this is a team that's given up 8 goals in 2 games. Now that's a lot of goals. Now, if there was ever a night you were going to break out of your goal-scoring doldrums, which the Dynamo are in. They're 28 out of 29 in the league. The only team with less goals is the New England Revolution. This could be the night. We remember LAFC last year. They came in off, I think, elimination from CONCACAF Champions League or something, and they were exhausted, and the Dynamo caught them at the right time, and they hammered them, and I think they scored 4 goals that night. So that's one to keep an eye on. I do not think this is a very good overall defending team in the Colorado Rapids. Meanwhile, the Dynamo, they are the number 1 defensive team in the Western Conference, and I think number 2 or 3 overall in the league, and maybe only Columbus is below them. Greg, thanks for that comment. We appreciate it. So let me just get into Colorado's lineup, and I'm going to just look back here because I have it on my boards for the game. Which, you know what, let me just show everybody what. So when you're an announcer, you make boards like this. Mine are very sloppy and handwritten because I can retain things better when I have the boards. All right, so they're making a number of changes based on their last game, which was a 3-3 comeback draw against Minnesota United. Zach Steffens in goal. Many of you remember him. He was signed by Manchester City. Sebastian Anderson is an academy player. He's going to be the starting right back tonight for them. Bombito, who's played for Canada 4 times as a defender, he will be in there. He's had a couple of moments where he's been pulled out of the middle and exposed a little bit, although he's a good player. Andreas Maxu will start. Denmark, Danish, 30 years old, good pass for the ball, big guy, 6'3". And then Sam Vines, if you remember, he went over to Royal Antwerp in Belgium and then has returned. So Vines will be in there as well. The midfield. Lefersend played at Pitt. He's German from Cologne. He'll be in there. Did not start their last game for them. You got Cole Bassett, who's really an 8. Now, the one thing with him, he's just been picked for the Olympic group, to go into camp ahead of the Olympics for the U.S., which, by the way, we haven't been to, I think, until, was it 2008? Is it that long we haven't been in the Olympics? It's pretty incredible. So Cole Bassett's a guy that joins in late. He went to Feyenoord. He had 8 appearances there. I don't think he scored. Then he went to Fortuna Sittard. He had 10 appearances there. So he returns to Major League Soccer. And then their big signing was Georgi Mihailovic. He's got 3 goals, 4 assists. He has 11 caps for the U.S. He's kind of their playmaker. Games I've watched with them, they don't seem to get him on the ball as much as they would want. Kevin Cabral comes off 2 goals, so you would want him starting this game. He's Cape Verdean descent. He's French. Remember him on the Galaxy. He was highly touted, didn't score a lot of goals there. He's coming off a 2-goal performance. The opposite side of the field is a journeyman, Connor Ronan. He's played at Wolves, Blackpool, Grasshoppers, Portsmouth. I mean, a bunch of teams here. I could list them and go on and on. And then up front is Rafael Navarro. Now, he's interesting, Brazilian. Played at Palmeiras. He's 24 years of age. He has scored in 5 straight games. So he's one to keep an eye on tonight. Now, the interesting thing about him is he's finally scoring goals, and his contract is up here in July. So they're going to have to make a decision on him if he keeps scoring goals. But he's got 9 on the year. Now, 4 of those have been penalties. So here's what the Dynamo are going to do tonight. Andrew Tarbell is going to remain in goal for a second consecutive start. That is due to the broken nose of goalkeeper Steve Clark. Right back is going to remain Griffin Dorsey. Interesting for him. He was an under-23 Colorado player with the Rapids, I think, when he was in college. But we remember him emerging last year in the Leagues Cup. You hope to get width with him tonight. Eric Sviatchenko, Mikhail be the 2 center backs here tonight. Nice combination of a growing center back in Mikhail and an experienced veteran in Sviatchenko that just oozes, professionalism and maturity when he plays the game. Left back is Franco Escobar. Good news. Now, what I know from Ben Olsen is, having spoken to him, this is straight from his mouth, he will play 45 minutes here tonight and then be replaced by Daniel Steres. So they got a set amount of minutes for him. By the way, Ben Olsen will not be on the bench tonight. It'll be the assistants who will take it over. Juan Guerra will be the head man tonight. So it's good to see Franco Escobar get back after his injury. Midfield, Artur, Herrera, Coco, right? They're gonna go back to the false 9. Sebastian Gavalchek will get back in the lineup. Amin Bassi. So it's important for the Dynamo to get the ball to the feet of Bassi and Coco higher up the field. Hector Herrera looked, obviously fatigued. He's fighting through these games fitness-wise. I think 100% they're pushing him to get through these games fitness-wise. But he looked a bit gassed. I mean, it is, as you all know out there with all the storms in there, it is hot, humid, and the air is incredibly heavy. And then Aliou, who played as the 9 in the last game, will go back to the left side for the Houston Dynamo. So that's their starting lineup. Now, one thing to mention on the bench for the Dynamo tonight is Sebastian Ferreira. So hopefully we're getting closer to him. And then Jefferson Valverde, the Ecuadorian who was signed from LDU Quito, holding midfield type. And you may see him tonight because I thought Artur's starting to get a little bit fatigued as well.
He's logged a lot of minutes.
And he has not had any injuries. So that's how it starts tonight. Juan Guerra will be the head coach, and then he'll be assisted by Tim Hanley, Aurelian Collin, the normal guys, Paul Caffrey, on the bench. So what do we got here? You got some questions for me?
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the Houston Dynamo's tactics against Colorado? A team that's given up 8 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, so I think you want to test them early. They gave up 3 first-half goals in their last game against Minnesota, so I think you test them early. You come out with a lot of energy. You put them under pressure. It's a night where you want good ball possession. Look, you've got 2 really good elements that just have not gotten the final cherry on the top of the cake, and that's a goal scorer, a striker, someone with that real mentality up front. You've got the collective defending side of it that dovetails with possession, because when you have the ball, obviously that's one way of defending, right? You have the ball. You've got 2/3 of it, but you just don't have the striker. Maybe Hector Herrera should put in a call to Carlos Vela, right? He's without a club. But that remains the big piece. And, maybe this is the night where the Dynamo break out and score more than 2 goals in the game. They've only had 3 multi-goal games. In 11, 12, 13, and 14 games, you've only had 3 multi-goal games. It's too much pressure. You've even heard Eric Sviatchenko come out and talk about it being a lot of pressure to play under. You can't have the same season as last year. Now, the other hand, it's MLS. You can wait. You can say you're going to sign somebody in the window. You're not in a rush. You have no pressure. There's no media pressure here, let's be honest. And, you can just try to wade through this. But you've only won once, I believe, in 6 games. That's a long time for a fan base. I mean, you want to recapture some level of momentum. We hear people say, well, we want a full stadium. Well, people aren't just going to show up. The one thing you can do as a competitive team for your front office is to win games and score goals. Scoring goals is a lot of the reason why people come to games. Entertaining style. It's a good possession team, but we haven't seen it really hit the heights that it should. And in fact, some of the road wins they haven't been their better games. They've been great results, And then some of their better games at home where they dominate, like against Austin FC, they don't take what they deserve. Got to take what you deserve, and that's only going to happen if you score goals. I see Jose says, guys, thanks for the show. What are the keys to your victory?
I was going to get to that. I was going to ask. I was going to put you on the spot towards the end. What are your 3 keys?
Well, I mean, chance creation and scoring goals. I mean, you got to find a way to score goals. I don't know who that is. I think it's unfair to put that on Coco, Bassi, even Aliou as a younger player. I think the front 4 do not have an extensive history of scoring goals. This is like we have this on repeat. I'm saying the same thing for a long, long time. 15 shots, no goals. That's great to spit all that data out, Greg. I get it. And everybody relies on it. Look at how many shots we have. We don't have finishers, okay? And the margins are slim. And that's the bottom line. That's not a slight against anybody. That's just the reality of it. And if you're not in reality and we're thinking all of a sudden we're going to get a 10-goal scorer or a 15-goal scorer out of this group, I hope so. I don't see it happening. They historically are not goal scorers. You can see it in the way they play the game. It's not the confident element in the game of Bassi, Coco, Kowalczyk. They don't have a history of scoring goals. And that's why the pressure should be on the organization and the urgency should be to get a goal scorer. Now, in MLS, 62% of the teams make the playoffs. I hate saying that all the time. So you can kind of wade your way through it. But that can also lead to disinterest because people want to see more than ball possession. I mean, I think that was an incredible upgrade last year. I mean, that was the best possession season a Houston Dynamo team has ever had. That's, in all fairness, it's a very different team than the championship teams of 6 and 7, and it's a very, very different league. What do we got here? We will have 30 shots, 9 in the goal or on. I think you mean on goal, but 1 goal only. Yeah, if we keep it well. Rushan, I mean, we've said it over and over all year long. I've said it on my show. This is a team that has to win games 1-0, and I don't know if that's a hard way to go throughout a whole season.
So forgive me because I know you told me the pronunciation, but again, I am horrible with pronunciations. But how should we expect the Dynamo to lock down Colorado with Bassett and company, who have 17 goals combined?
One, have the ball. That's the obvious one.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dynamo are a good collective defending team. I think they can deal with Navarro, although he's a hot goal scorer right now. He's scored in 5 straight games. We got some ominous clouds, but we also have sun bathing the stadium right now as the teams are warming up. Bassett's interesting because he's a worker and a runner. I don't think he's an overly technical player, but he's a worker and a runner, and he can outwork people. And in the latter stages of games, you got to be careful of him. He'll come late from midfield. He's really more of an 8 to me, but he will come late and join the attack late. And if you're not paying attention, and it might be a moment where people aren't tracking people, he can be dangerous. They do get some penetration from the wide players. They're going to look to do that from Cabral tonight and Ronan, but they've also got a good weapon coming off the bench. Omir Fernandez and Calvin Harris are other guys that can bring you some width. And then the other thing is to make it difficult on Mihailovic because he can lay on the final pass. Good technical player. I don't think they play through him a lot under Chris Armas as much, as maybe I would like. Now, that's a smaller sample size of only watching 3 of their games, but he was one of their big signing. Time the match starts, I think it's 36. It's 7:36. 6 minutes after the bottom of the hour is when the game starts. The actual kickoff.
Yeah. Let me back to your playing days because I've always been curious. When you do have a backup goalkeeper and you're not your steady hand of somebody like Steve Clark, what goes through the mind defensively of your center backs to kind of take the pressure off somebody who doesn't start regularly?
I think these guys all understand the qualities of Andrew Tarbell and the differences in him as a goalkeeper. It comes down to even the subtleties of the type of back passes you play to the guy or how comfortable you think he is with his feet and what situations you can put him in as opposed to Steve Clark. Now, let's not forget, Andrew Tarbell was the winning goalkeeper in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Played all the games. His biggest year was with San Jose. I think I jotted it down, but it was way back when he was actually a starter in 2018 in San Jose. His biggest and largest amount of appearances was 28 or 29 games that year. He was a starter. Most of the time, he's been a backup in MLS. But yeah, there are differences, no question. But these guys train together. They've played with him. It's should not be a problem.
Real quick, guys. Again, be sure to like, subscribe, share, follow us on YouTube. You'll get all of Glenn's content from Soccer Matters, from the show, interviews. Sometimes he'll have some bonus interviews too that don't make the live show, but are.
By the way, here's a good one for this week on Soccer Matters. I got my friend Jordi Sunier in Barcelona, and we're going to talk about Hansi Flick being named the coach. That was pretty incredible that, 1 minute Xavi said he's not going to return to Barcelona. Then he says he is going to return. And then all of a sudden, a month later, he's moved out of there. Now, there was some talk that Deco, who is the sporting director there, and him didn't get along. So that's a fascinating one. But, if you're going to move him out, you would have to go with a big name manager, and Hansi Flick. That's pretty interesting with Barcelona. Plus, we got 2 Champions League finals this weekend.
Yeah.
We got Real Madrid. We'll do a preview of that Real Madrid Dortmund game. Go Dortmund! Sorry, Madristas. and then we got Columbus Crew and Pachuca at altitude. Let's go Crew!
Yeah.
Right. Let's go Crew! All of MLS should be back in the Crew in this one. Greg says, in light of our salary cap, can we get a good enough 9 this summer? Well, I've had Pat Onstad on the show. It sounded to me like he was leaning towards U22 initiative, but, with the new MLS rules that are opening up more cash and the ability to bring more players in, that's a good thing for the Dynamo. So there you go. What else you got?
I guess we're close to end time here.
What time is it?
We normally try to go off at 7:20.
7:20. Yeah, so we'll close it down. We want you to come back at the end of the game.
Yep.
We want your opinion. So for everybody that tuned in, Greg, Rushan, we appreciate it. Albert, anytime you need a time or an alarm clock, just call me. I can let you know what time it is. No problem. But Edson, hello to you down in the Rio Grande Valley. I guess he's not here tonight. I don't anticipate a lot of people being down here tonight based on, 1, the weather, based on 2, overall attendance, and number 3, based on a big question mark.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like it. I mean, you get the feel in the building. I'm walking around, and, normally there'll be a few more people here. I don't see a lot of them. By the way, the Rapids fans don't travel very well.
I did see one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's where we're at.